Hey everybody, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with a closer look at the new Motorola Xoom tablet. This is really a nice tablet. I've been having a lot of fun working on it at my desk today, and I want to show you a few different things on it, and there's so many different things that I can't spend a lot of time on any one of them. First of all, you see that I've got some widgets here on the screen. You can just tap on this little plus in the upper right hand corner, and that brings up the widget menu. You can touch these and drag them to any of the 5 screens of the Android 3 operating system here that you get with the Motorola Xoom. So I've put, let's go back to the main screen here, I've put a bookmark widget here and also my calendar widget. This is my enterprise calendar, my Microsoft Outlook calendar. Of course, the Xoom will not only be able to show your Outlook calendar, it'll show your Outlook email if you want it, but I thought I'd put my calendar right here on the front page of the Motorola Xoom. And now you can actually scroll in this widget. And if you want to find out something more about that meeting, you can just touch on that one item and it calls that one item up. So in other words, you can scroll within the widget. This is also true here of the bookmark widget. And you can add whatever bookmarks you wanted. Notice that I added Wirefly right there. And I touch the Wirefly part within the widget and it calls up Wirefly. Of course, there's many others. I can go to Yahoo directly by touching the widget, or I can scroll to something else if I wanted to go to something else. Here we'll scroll to CNN. I think that's really cool that you can scroll within the widget. That's something that the iPad doesn't support. The iPad simply puts icons on the screen, and although this is a large widget, certainly, and it covers a lot of real estate here on the screen, it's neat that just within that widget I can scroll among the things that I would want to get to as bookmarks. So I wanted to show you that. Now let's talk a little bit more about the physical aspects of the Motorola Xoom. We've previously mentioned it's a 10.1-inch diagonal screen. Screen resolution is 1280 by 800 pixels, so it's a very nice resolution screen. And we've also shown previously that there's a little drawer on the back that you get a fingernail under and you pull it out. And here they have a dummy SIM card. So this is for the 4G services that'll be available in the in the near future. I don't know if you can read that. I'm trying to hold it where the camera will focus on it. So that's a 4G SIM card. But when I took a closer look in here, there's also a dummy micro USB card. And this micro USB card says replace with I called it a micro USB. It's a micro SD card. It says replace with micro SD only after Android system update. So in a few weeks you'll be able to get the Android system updated to support micro SD cards, and that goes inside the same little drawer area as the SIM card. Now the Xoom comes with 32 gig of RAM, and of course you can get micro SD cards that are also up to 32 gig, and so that's quite a bit of storage. It's 64 gig of storage, which is, as you know, a pretty healthy amount. Now the browser that they used here in the Motorola Xoom, this is actually, they call it an Android browser. It's not the WebKit that comes with cell phones. So one of the really nice things is that you can have multiple tabs. So I've got this here and I can do whatever search I want. I can keep one thing in the first tab and I can search on, let's say, Wirefly. And I'll bring up Wirefly in this tab. So all I need to do is to go from tab to tab to keep multiple things on the screen. There's my other tab, my first tab, and the second tab has got Wirefly on it. Very nice. And of course, you can close tabs by touching the little X on the tab. Back to the main screen. Now, I want to run some benchmark tests. I loaded both Quadrant and Smart Bench on the Xoom, and I was actually a little surprised to find that they both work. Now, I don't know if they work perfectly, but they do both run, and I'll go ahead and run them for you so you see what the results are. One of the other things, a couple of the other things that I wanted to show you I have more widgets here. I've got an email widget there for my Gmail. This is a YouTube widget. Down here is the photo gallery. Actually, it's the gallery for both photos and for videos. And this brings up all of the photos and videos you have in here. It says I've got 2 movies. I'm going to go ahead and touch one. One is something that I shot in my cubicle this morning. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Here's my cat. This was a video I took with a cell phone. Oops, it says it can't be played, but I know I played it a short time ago. There we go. That's my cat that I took with a cell phone a couple of months ago, and it plays fine on here. I don't know why I got that brief error message, but there's my little kitty Jingly. I'm going to go back. There we go. Keep going back till we get to the main gallery display. I have some pictures in here. Some of these pictures I took with the Xoom, others I took with a different camera, and I loaded them into the Xoom this morning. So we'll start from the top here. This was a close-up shot I took of a snarl of cables on my desk, and you can see you get pretty close. I took that probably within 4 inches or so of this tag. So there's a pretty good macro feature here. You do a double tap and it'll zoom all the way in to that tag. That tag is maybe about half the size of my pinky, so you get some idea. Zoom back out again. And you just drag the screens from side to side. This is the entrance to the Wirefly building. That's my lovely cubicle. Here every Friday at work they bring in donuts and bagels for us. And there's the monitor I look at when I am doing videos here in the little Wirefly studio. One of the neat little apps that the Xoom comes with that I'd like to show you is Movie Studio, which is a movie editing, a video editing app. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new project, and I'm going to call it Wirefly. By the way, it's pretty easy typing on this nice big keyboard. You don't really get any feedback when you're typing, but the keys are so nice and big, it's actually easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and load a couple of clips in. These are clips I shot this morning at my desk, and they're right here, so I'm going to go ahead and load that clip. And the clips load in something called the timeline. This is the timeline down here. I'll talk more about that in a moment. And this is my other clip. And now it'll show up in the timeline as well. Now, if you get the clips in the wrong order, that you want one in front of the other, all you need to do is touch and drag it in front of the other, and it will move. So now the short clip is in front of the long clip. But actually, I wanted to have the other clip first, so I'm going to go ahead and move it back where it was. Sometimes you got to do things twice, I guess. Now let's go ahead and play this. These are your controls here. By the way, if you want to stretch the timeline out, use this dial here. This doesn't make the videos any longer. It just stretches out the timeline so that it makes it a little easier for you to do your editing. So I'm going to do this here, and I'll go ahead and touch the play button, and the video will play.
Taking a look around my office.
You can actually hear me speaking there. When the next clip plays, you'll hear it again.
And this is what I see when I stand up.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop. And you might not have seen this, but I don't really start the video until after I've been recording for a second or two. So I want to clip off the first second or so of this clip here. And you just touch the clip, and it brings up a little grab it thing here on the end. And you just move it in. Okay, so I've now moved it in, and I also do the same thing at the end where I hold the clip a little bit long at the end just to make sure I've got enough. Now I've tightened that clip up a little bit. I also do the same thing to this clip, so I want to go ahead and shorten it a little bit at both ends. Now I've shortened the clips up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and play.
Okay, taking a look around my office, my cubicle.
So the clip now starts with me talking.
This is what I see when I stand up.
And again, the second clip starts when I'm talking. Now, if you want to actually create this clip, make a final version of it, you touch Export Movie, and you can do a couple of different sizes. This will do 1280 by 720, in other words, that's 720p, and there's different quality settings, low, medium, and high. I'll just select medium, and you can export the movie. So this will then render the movie into a QuickTime format, and it saves it on the Xoom so that you can export it into a computer. So that's how you do the video application here in the Motorola Xoom. Let's talk about some other things. Oh, I was going to run some benchmarks for you. Let me go ahead and show. Actually, there's one more thing I want to show you before we go too far. Two more things. One is the Android market. Now, when you go to the Android market, it calls up Android apps for tablets. It knows you're on a tablet, so it automatically calls up the apps that would be appropriate for a tablet. And yes, they do have Angry Birds. So I've gone to the Android market and downloaded a couple of benchmark apps, and I'm going to go ahead and run those in a moment. Next thing I want to show you is navigation, because the navigation is really cool. Find Five Guys. There's a local burger joint here called Five Guys. I'm going to tell it to find the closest Five Guys. And here we go. There is the closest Five Guys. It brings up a map with driving directions. And because this is a 10.1-inch diagonal tablet, this is a big map, easy to see. So really nice. If you've got somebody sitting in the passenger seat in your car, this makes a wonderful navigation tool. Okay, I promised some benchmark testing, and I'm going to go ahead and run Quadrant. I've been running SmartBench also on cell phones, and I ran it on the Xoom earlier today, but it doesn't seem to run properly all the time, so I'm going to go ahead and pass on SmartBench. I'm actually surprised that either of these applications, Quadrant or SmartBench, actually runs on the Xoom, but I did get both to run. Quadrant seems to run more reliably, so I'm going to go ahead and run Quadrant. Now I noticed that as soon as you start running these benchmark tests, it goes into portrait mode instead of landscape mode. So I'm going to rotate it around so we can run Quadrant in portrait mode, and you can see how it goes. Now I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera down and pick it back up again after it's done with the benchmark so we can just get the results. Okay, that's the last of the 3D tests in Quadrant. I do want the results. And this scored 1,930, which is an excellent score. I've had one device score slightly higher than that. So that is a very, very fast Quadrant score. And I have no idea if Quadrant is really designed to run on Android 3.0. I've used it usually to test cell phones running Android 2.1 and 2.2. I have a Nexus S here that runs Android 2.3, and I couldn't really get Quadrant to run on the Nexus S. So that is the results of the Quadrant benchmark test here on the Motorola Xoom tablet. And there's one more thing that I want to discuss. This does take a micro USB connector right here. That's the micro USB. That's for getting the data into and out of the Xoom in your computer. Next to that is a micro HDMI connector. So I thought, and this was my mistake, I thought that you could do a trickle charge of the Xoom using that micro USB port. But it doesn't support that. I tried it, and a message came up on the screen that says it's not supported. So the only way to charge the Xoom is with the charger that comes with it. So that's a closer look at the Motorola Xoom. This is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly. Thanks for watching.